So, for anyone who questions whether or not Rod Rosenstein should be on the chopping block and should be fired, I don't think he should be fired. I don't think Robert Mueller should be fired. I don't think that Jeff Sessions should be fired. Mr. Magoo Sessions. You know, I mean, I watched his confirmation hearings. Oh my goodness. Now, this man must be an incredible bullshitter, or people are insane to ever think he could fulfill a position other than Walmart greeter, because he just talks like he doesn't have the first damn clue what he's saying. I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't remember. Really? These are pretty important subjects, sir. We need to be harder on drug criminals. Yeah, that's worked. That's worked just aces over the last 50 years. That's been the bomb. You know, it's certainly protected the CIA in the fact that they are the largest drug importer in the nation. So that's what the drug war protects. It protects the CIA because of the fact that, hey, the CIA would no longer have this nonstop profit machine that is illegal drugs if you then made them legal, sanctioned, taxed, things like that. Because, guess what? They're not a legitimate seller of anything. They are an intelligence service, which the fact that we have as many intelligence agencies as we have is disgusting. The United States is not meant to be this federalized monstrosity that it's become. It's just not. It was not what the founders intended. It has not worked to the benefit of the people. And nothing positive is happening out of it. Nothing good is coming out of it. And if you don't believe that, then how do you explain the election of Donald Trump? Donald Trump was elected because people were sick and tired of politicians. And simply put, politicians deserve it. They're liars. I mean, how many politicians have gone into office under a platform that I'm here for you, I'm going to do this for you, I'm all about my constituents, but yet they sign off on garbage laws and garbage omnibus bills and garbage budgets. Not that we've had a budget in years, but I would suggest to anyone that even just checking out the bullet points of the various health laws that have come into effect in this nation under Obama, and now the attempt to revert the Obama dynamic, the Obama-namics, whatever, I don't know. But just check out some of the bullet points as to what was made legal and what was, and basically who suffered there. Because the biggest problem that I had with Obamacare was the individual mandate. It was the biggest problem that I had because it is the government forcing individual citizens to buy a service from a private seller, mind you. These are corporate entities that this is not, we're not talking about universal health care. We're talking about corporate entities selling a service that you may never use, you may not want, but you had to have under penalty of law. There is nothing democratic about that. There is nothing that remotely relates to any type of freedom or protection under the law. It's, I hate to say fascist. I don't think it is fascist. That's not communist either. It's not necessarily even socialist. It's statist is what it is. It's the national government overstepping their bounds. Because For those who do not understand what the government's purpose is and the government's intent, the government is not there to take care of people. The government is not there to provide for people. The government is there for the people. The government is there to see the will of the people done. And it's been generation after generation of that not happening. Of corporations getting richer and more powerful and less controlled, less scrutinized, and people having more and more laws placed upon them under the guise that it's protecting you. It's like the seatbelt law. The seatbelt law, oh, we want to save lives. No, you want to make money by writing tickets. Because writing tickets is how governments use their executive branch, their police forces and such, to make money, to gain income. It's same, do seatbelts save lives? Of course they do. Is it your right to tell an adult that they have to be safe with their own life? No, it's not. You don't have the moral authority to do that. I mean, I think that people mistake what is good for someone, what is clearly good for someone, with what you can mandate that person do. This has been true with the drug laws in this country for, well, ever since Nixon anyway, because under Nixon is when they went overboard and crazy, and then, under Reagan they got even worse, and Nancy with her just say no, yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? And again, I mean, this is not a personal attack on anyone, but I'm a libertarian. I believe in individual rights, and I believe that the individual rights extend to exactly the point where those rights threaten to infringe upon the rights of others, and then they stop and they halt without movement. It's dead in their tracks, because you don't have a right to infringe upon on other people now on their rights. Now, granted, there are certainly, taking drug law into consideration here. I do not believe that anything good has come from criminalizing drugs. We have stacked our prison systems, and I know that there are statistics of, well, there's so many people who there's this very small number of people who are in prison for just petty possession and this and that. Okay, but I don't care about that. That's not what I'm saying. If someone's in prison for possession, or if someone's in prison for distribution of a substance that, in my opinion, the government does not have the right to tell an adult that they can or cannot use, it's still just as big a problem. Now, violent crimes, we're talking about something entirely different there. Because a violent crime is a crime against someone else. You should not be subject to prosecution for a crime against yourself. It is stupidity. It is people assuming moral superiority. And here's the problem with that. You are not morally superior. Neither am I. None of us are. And only people deluded enough to think that they are, which, if you believe that you are delusional. There's just, in my mind, there's no question there. Because I think just about any rational thinking person in the world is going to recognize that we all have our flaws. We all have blind spots. We all have predispositions, and we all have biases. That being the case, we're not meant to be judgmental of one another. And I get the biggest kick out of that when Christians do that. Because it's like, okay, yes, I know the Bible. I get the 10 Commandments. I understand all that. I get, okay, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing, is if you're a Christian, then you proclaim that Christ is your Savior, your God, however you look at it. Role model of whatever. It is the archetype for the perfect life. However you look at that. Well, your God or your role model or your archetype or your Savior said in no uncertain terms, he who is without sin casts the first stone. And yes, there's more to that statement. I've brought this up numerous times. But that statement can stand alone. Because there are certain activities that we all agree are wrong. And certain things that should be criminal. We can all agree you should not be able to murder from anyone. Or murder from... We can agree that you should not be able to murder people. We can agree that you should not be able to just steal people's shit. There's a lot more, but, let's just take those two. Because those are pretty much universally agreeable, I think. And then the things that are universally agreeable, I think those are pretty easy to work with. It's the things that are more vague, the things that are more subjective. That's where the problems come in. Well, you shouldn't do this because this leads to that. Hey, shut your mouth. Could lead to, possibly. Right now, mental illness is getting... There's an attack, a subtle attack, mind you, on mental illness that is just disturbing and disgusting. Because whenever these shootings come up, or this fuckwad up in Canada who decided to drive his car through people, killed 10 people, injured 15 more, and I still haven't looked into it. I don't know if this is if this is an incel, involuntarily celibate, lash out or not. I had heard at one point earlier this week that it had been connected to the incel revolution, which, if you're part of the incel revolution, go see a priest, go see a shrink, go sit by a waterfall, do something, but get your fucking mind right. Because that is some bullshit. It is absolute pure bullshit. Involuntarily celibate? Okay, yeah, let's break it down. You don't need a term. You don't need a moniker. You can't get any. We get it. And guess what? A lot of us have been there at one point or another in life. But sex, I don't know, I'm old-fashioned. I believe that sex should have an emotional link. There should be some, at the very least, deep consideration for the other person before sex ever occurs. Now, if you're part of the incel revolution and you think that women are bitches and they're just trying to make your life miserable and they're on earth to torment men, you're an idiot. You're an absolute imbecile. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even say that. You may not be an imbecile, but those thoughts, that rationalization is imbecilic. That is idiotic. That it makes no sense. And guess what? It's not grounded in reality. I don't know anybody who's in the incel revolution, but I can promise you that if they are a misguided fuck. Because it is really detrimental to relations between males and females. which, not like they're not